Hey everyone, it's Ned the Nudist. I wanted to give you a little update on our thrupple's recent adventures. I always enjoy sharing what goes on in our world, both for folks who already live in this lifestyle and for those who are a little curious and standing just outside the velvet rope, so to speak. Last Tuesday, Sugar went on a date with a single guy. It was a first meeting just to see if there was chemistry, which could lead to a proper play date later. Apparently, it went well because afterward he texted me to ask for official permission to move forward. I laid out the rules and expectations and boundaries, and I assume they'll be setting a play date soon. Then Saturday rolled around. All three of us attended a BDSM party hosted by a friend. It was billed as a pan party, meaning pretty much every expression of sexuality was welcome. And there were some gay guys there playing in the swing room. Um, the girls always get a little giddy when they can watch two guys going at it. And then there was a woman being beautifully tied in a shibari rope. If you don't know what shibari is, you might want to Google that. We had an electro stimulation tent tucked off to the side, which of course caught my attention. So I grabbed the wand and laid the girls out on the table. Well, one at a time. And I used it on both of them though. Now, Sophie had tried electro gear before, non sexually, at a conference last year, and it didn't do much for her then. But using it in a sexual context, it was a completely different experience. Sugar, on the other hand, had never tried it at all, and she was pretty frightened of it at first, but she absolutely loved it. I started with Sugar, and now you should know that Sophie's pussy is very sensitive, so the lightest touch of the clit will set her off. Sugar, on the other hand, can handle intense amounts of pressure on her clit, and she loves it. So I started the wand on the lowest setting, going up and down her body, and then I started it encircling her labia and moved to the inside edges of the labia. She seemed to be loving it. she was she was already having orgasms. Both the girls are very orgasmic. I moved to the nipples too, and she loved that. And then I slowly started grazing the hood of her clit, and she started to ramp up even more. So finally, I started tapping her clit harder with the wand. Now, the electrostimulation is best when it's constantly being tapped to the skin rather than placed squarely on it. So I started to dance on the hood and on the exposed clit, and she was almost yelling with her orgasms, back arched. It was really hot. Now, Sophie's session was similar. She didn't like it when it was placed on her hand or arm at the conference that we went to. But when it hit her nipples and her pussy, she too started to orgasm. I just had to be a little more circumspect with her clit. After that, we just all hung out for a while. The party was entirely outdoors, and since we lived somewhere warm and sunny, even in December, we were able to lounge around naked. It was relaxed, social, and honestly, anytime we can hang out naked, it's always perfect. At one point, I brought both of them over to the flogging bench. Sophie went first. She's a bit of a masochist, so impact play is very much her thing. I started with a gentle flogging, which is really nothing more than a glorified massage, albeit more sexual. And then I switched to the paddle for a few swats, back to the flogger, and then I brought out the thin bamboo stick. A little goes a long way with that one. I also used the flogger right up the crack so it impacted her clit. Sophie loves that particular move. Within about 10 minutes, she was deep in subspace, completely zoned out. And when I finished, Sugar and I helped her down and sat her, down for a little aftercare, cuddling and grounding her while she came down from the high. If you're not familiar with impact play, for those who enjoy it, the endorphin rush can be intense. Now, here's the interesting part. I've never done heavy impact play with Sugar before. She had restrictions, meaning no marks, before she moved in with us. So I never really had the opportunity to establish my dominance with her in that particular way. But this time, there was no constraints. So I spent some time with her as well. Lighter than Sophie's session, since she was new, but always checking in emotionally and physically to make sure she felt safe and supported. Using all the previously mentioned instruments, only a bit lighter. Other than the clit shots, I could go pretty hard, as as hard as I wanted with sugar on that one. And when we finished, Sophie and I helped her down and sat her just like we did with Sophie. And that's when she said something that made me smile. She said she had no idea impact play could create that kind of high. Her exact words, "It's better than gummies." We all laughed at that. 3 hours later, back at home, she said she was still floating. So, yeah, safe to say she's excited to explore more of that particular play. And I'm very much looking forward to doing it too. Then we ended our party stay in a tent that had stereo piped in of sexual noises from what can only be described really as werewolves, I guess. Very primal and guttural. We had the flaps of the tent open, and we all three played on the bed in front of everyone for about an hour. We went home with smiles on our faces, as you can imagine. It was a great 3 hours or so. Now, later today, Sugar is having one of the single guys that we've played with as a group before. She's having him over for a play session. I'll be asleep. I'm a night owl. It's 2 a.m. as I record this. He's playing with her, just with her this time. And then tomorrow night, we're attending a private home swinger party with 6 or 7 other couples. We haven't met them, any of them yet, and we'll be the only throuple there, so that should be interesting. I'll report back and let you know how that goes. Oh, and if you still haven't seen the Risque Novelty underwear demo that I did, you're missing out. That's also here on Blue Sky or X, and it's hilarious. You gotta watch that. Other than our regular fun here at home, which I just got done with Sugar about an hour ago, that's about it for this week's update. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me, Nedniks. I appreciate it. Pants off and peace out.